Another bank scam. The CEO of state-run Bank of Maharashtra is arrested for allegedly colluding with a real estate developer in a 2,000 crore rupee fraud. Do depositors need to worry? An interfaith couple allege harassment at a passport kendra. The woman tweets Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj to say the officer humiliated her for retaining her maiden name. And if you've bought Pride Month merchandise, it's worth asking, are the countries they were stitched in celebrating gay rights? It's Friday, June 22nd. Banks, in recent times, have been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The latest being the arrest of the state-run Bank of Maharashtra CEO and MD Ravindra Marathe. Marathe was arrested for allegedly colluding with builder D.S. Kulkarni in a fraud case involving more than 2,000 crore rupees. Reserve Bank of India data up to March 31, 2017 shows state-run banks have reported 8,670 cases of fraudulent loans, totaling up to 61,269 crore rupees in 5 financial years. In fact, collusion of officials from at least 3 state-run banks have been investigated in loan fraud cases. What does this mean for depositors like you and I? Former Reserve Bank of India Governor Y.V. Reddy, in a public lecture last week, put the developments in context. Why have doubts about trust in banks arisen in recent months? These are the sources of discomfort. First, mounting non-performing assets, not due to lending to agriculture or social banking, but defaults by the very rich and the very powerful. 2. Inadequate capital to make up for non-performing assets or NPAs in discharging the liabilities of banks. What are NPAs? There are 2 types of borrowers. Retail borrowers like you and I, who take personal loans, home loans, etc., and the big corporate borrowers. The bank earns interest on these loans. A portion of that is used to pay the interest the bank owes its depositors. The rest is the bank's profit. NPAs are a result of the bank's borrowers failing to repay their loans. Third, a proposal to change a law relating to resolving issues of banks' problems by making the depositors share the burden of insolvency. What is Dr. Reddy referring to? He's talking about the yet-to-be-passed Financial Resolution and Deposit Insurance Bill. The bill aims to insure the money of a bank's depositors in case the bank goes under. But one clause in particular, the bail-in clause, has been controversial. As per the bill, a resolution corporation will be set up to monitor financial companies. The bail-in clause says the resolution corporation will rescue a failing financial institution through the help of creditors and depositors' money. So barring the money which is insured, currently up to 1 lakh of bank deposits are insured. Barring that, the rest of the money is subject to the bail-in clause. Fourth, the large criminal frauds committed in select banks, the biggest one of course in recent times being the PNB Nirav Modi fraud case. Fifth, the investigations launched and raids conducted on some board members and CEO. Recently, the CEO of ICICI, Chanda Kochar, came under a cloud after it emerged that in 2008, Venugopal Dhoot of the Videocon Group set up a company with Deepak Kochar, the husband of Chanda Kochar and 2 of her relatives. Dhoot gave a 64 crore loan to this company through a fully owned entity. The Videocon Group got a loan of 3,250 crores from ICICI Bank. 6 months later, Dhoot transferred the ownership of the company to a trust headed by Deepak Kochar for just 9 lakh rupees. As for the loan ICICI gave Dhoot, almost 86% remains unpaid, and the Videocon account was declared a non-performing asset in 2017. Given all these reports, should depositors worry? Is our money safe? It affects the depositors if bank does not have enough money to pay the depositors. That is when capital is not adequate. What's the position now? Dr. Reddy says from all accounts, the private sector banks have adequate capital to meet the requirements of a depositor's safety. But there is inadequate capital with public sector banks to meet the obligations. The safety of depositors is not a problem though, because the owner is the government and the sovereign cannot be insolvent. Net net, what it means is your money in a public sector bank is safe because the government is the owner. But you end up paying the price for non performing assets anyway as a taxpayer. Who should be worried most about the fraud? Dr. Reddy asks. The owner of the bank who stands to lose the most, which is the government. The owner should be worried about what the directors it nominated in the board were doing, about the managers it appointed, about the system of monitoring and control of its own investment. Who pays for the losses due to fraud? The taxpayer. The taxpayers who have entrusted their money to the government-owned banks should be asking the government to explain why, as the custodian of their money, it failed to prevent the fraud. Tanvi Seth and Anas Siddiqui have finally received their passports. But the ordeal that led to this has received national attention. After they got their clearance from all of the counters at Lucknow's Ratan Square passport office, Tanvi Seth found her passport application blocked and her husband's renewal application stalled by an officer, Vikas Mishra. Taking to Twitter and email to reach out to Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj, Tanvi said that the officer told her there was an issue with my file since I had married a Muslim and yet retained my maiden name. He told me it is the duty of every girl to change her name after marriage. The interfaith couple have been married 12 years and have a 6-year-old daughter. She also claims that Officer Mishra blocked her husband's file, asking that either he convert to Hinduism or have his wife change to Islam for his passport to be processed.
It's just that the way he was talking was very demeaning. His hand gestures were very attacking and the way he was talking was very rude.
Vijay Dwivedi, the additional private secretary to Minister Swaraj, assured assistance, following which the Regional Passport Office of Lucknow assured an inquiry and completed proceedings. Meanwhile, the officer Vikas Mishra, who has been transferred, defended his action, saying,
उस कॉलम में हमने सिर्फ उनसे यही पूछा कि ये नाम है और आप हमको निकाहनामा में दिखा रही हैं कि आपका नाम शादिया अनस है, तो आप इस नाम को फाइल में इंडोर्स करा लीजिए, जिसके लिए उन्होंने मना कर दिया। अगर वो कंसेंट दे देती कि हाँ नाम एंडोर्स करा देती तो हम ए सेक्शन में भेज देते और ए सेक्शन सिंपली डेटा मॉडिफिकेशन वो एंट्री करा देती। वो नहीं करा रही, क्यों नहीं करा रही है? हमारे पास जितने एप्लीकेंट आते सबके बारे में हमको ये देखना पड़ता है कि कौन व्यक्ति नाम बदल करके तो नहीं ले पा रहा, और हमारे पास पूरा जब एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री प्रूफ है तो हम इसको इग्नोर कैसे कर दें? अगर हम इस तरह से काम करने लगेंगे तो कल को कोई भी व्यक्ति आकर किसी भी नाम से पासपोर्ट बनवा कर ले करके जाएगा तो क्या ये देश की सुरक्षा के साथ खिलवाड़ नहीं होगा?
It has never been easier than this Pride Month to purchase merchandise celebrating lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender rights. But turns out it isn't so much about what you wear, that about who has helped make it. Clothing brands like H&M, Primark, Target and Levi Strauss have come under fire in the US and UK for launching pride clothing made in countries that either actively criminalize LGBT rights or penalize it. H&M's first Pride collection was made in China, Turkey, Bangladesh and India. Target uses Indonesia, Bangladesh, China, Guatemala, Honduras and Mexico, while Levi Strauss has factories in China, India, Madagascar and Mexico. All these countries either have explicit laws criminalizing gay sex like Myanmar or our India, or penalize it like Bangladesh, Turkey or China. Activists have criticized the companies for the commercialization of pride. The brands on their part have said they provide grants to local or global organizations that fight for equal rights. Ravina Shamdasani, a spokeswoman for the United Nations Human Rights Office, told the New York Times that making pride t-shirts in a place where homosexuality is illegal could be considered a way of making inroads towards more human rights. But brands aside, how are countries that criminalize gay rights all right with making business profits from it? And can homophobia be pierced a stitch at a time? That remains to be seen. And meanwhile, it's a girl for New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, who gave birth to her daughter yesterday. She is only the second ever elected world leader to give birth while holding office after the late Pakistan Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. Ardern's pregnancy has been followed around the world, with the 37-year-old having become almost a role model for combining motherhood with political leadership. Nothing like a cute baby picture to end this week on, huh? Especially because it's a very special week. Your Morning Fix completes 50 episodes today, and we couldn't have done it without you. Here's to our successful partnership. Meet us back on Monday.